Hello. So, today I want to talk a little bit about the importance of good definitions. So, most of the time, if you're talking to someone about something and they bring up very large concepts, such as, oh, the origin of all being, or politics, or vague feelings, in just a general sense. If you can't define the words to describe what's going on concisely, then you're going to find a bunch of issues in the conversation, and it will likely go nowhere because they that's it doesn't equate. If you have all right, let's go with the easy pickings of this kind of example. God has such a long and difficult to use definition. You can't, it doesn't even make any sense. It self contradicts itself by the definitions it itself is using for itself. God has to be omniscient, which means it knows everything. That omniscience implies the next thing that I'm going to say, omnipotent. It has to be able to do everything. And if it can do everything, it logically follows that it needs to know everything in order to do everything. If it doesn't know everything, then it can't do everything, can it? That makes sense, and it's fine. All right. So, God has to be omnipotent, and here's at least the Christian version. All-loving, omnibenevolent. If it's omnibenevolent and it's all omnipotent, then there's no reason for the inefficiencies in our lives. The only way that it could work out that way is if he's also omni-lazy. Like he would have to be all lazy. Like he would have to do literally nothing. And at that point, why would we even call him God, right? Or at least Christian God or whatever. That's not the point. But yeah, all the attributes that make up his definition are super vague and unintelligible. It's not useful to say these things. Now, when you go to a dictionary or anywhere else really, where you have a definition, if that definition has multiple versions of itself, then that's a bad word to use. If you can't sum up what that word means immediately, then that word is self-defeating, because you're going to have someone think that you mean something completely different than what you originally intended. Unless you go through the extra hassle of figuring out what the rest of that word means. Like you have to constantly clarify your definitions if you use these vague notions. So yeah, remember my early contention / issue with liberal and conservative? That is a perfect example. People have wide range of uh, different definitions for liberal and conservative. One that I see popping up a lot is liberalism, which doesn't actually have to do with the word liberal. It has to do with liberty. Like, it has nothing to do with the word liberal. You just added an ism and got rid of the ty. So the proper pronunciation of that, if we're going by root words, is liberalism. Liberalism, because liber means free, while liberal, like I told you before, is just someone willing to buck tradition to affect some level of change. That's it. See, that's way more concise, isn't it? All right. All right, I can probably talk about this in circles, but I think I've made my point.